Oh, so right there, you see that line over here?
Yes.
Yeah, it looks like that's where the leak is, right there. Oh, you here? I saw it.
Yeah.
Hello viewers, welcome to Kids Auto and Truck Repair. Today we have a 2019 Ford Escape. The customer complaint on this vehicle is the check engine light is remaining on the dash while the engine is running. Now I have to mention that this is potentially a comeback that we got. The owner of this vehicle is one of our subscribers here on our YouTube channel. They drove, I believe, from Baltimore to come to our shop. We did fix this vehicle already. We fixed this vehicle about a week ago. It came here for a check engine light. When we scanned it, the first time the vehicle came here, there was a P0301 code in the engine computer. So misfire, cylinder 1 misfire code. We looked at the spark plugs. Actually, this engine had 2 spark plug part numbers on the same engine. One spark plug was different from the other. We replaced all the spark plugs. I'm sure some of you have seen that video. We replaced all the spark plugs. We drove the vehicle. The vehicle was driving well. We delivered the vehicle. About a week later, the customer called me and told me that the check engine light came back on. The vehicle seems to drive fine, but the check engine light is on. So they brought it to us so we can figure out why. There is a possibility that it has something to do with what we did, or maybe there's another problem that's coming up. So we have to figure it out. I told the customer, leave it here, we will check it out. So the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna go in the vehicle and start the engine to see if we have a code in the engine computer. We're also gonna check to see if the check engine light is gonna remain on the dash. And after that, we'll go from there. Now, before we go in the vehicle, I would like to give a shout out to our cameraman, Matt, behind the camera. Thanks for being here. Thanks for your awesome work, Matt. We appreciate you. Now, there is another important piece of information that I have to mention here before we go in the vehicle. The customer told me that he noticed when he first starts the vehicle in the morning, there is white smoke coming out of the tailpipe. So that's kind of a bad sign. If you have a lot of white smoke coming out of the tailpipe, that could be an indication of coolant burning in the combustion chamber. So I don't know what we're gonna find. So let's check this out and see what happens. Now let's go in the vehicle. All right, so I'm gonna get the scan tool dongle connected. I'm gonna put it up here. So the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start the engine. Now the customer told me that sometimes the check engine light goes off, it comes on and off. So let's figure out. I'm gonna start the engine first. If the check engine light remains on, I'm gonna show you. But if not, actually right now the check engine light is not on. So I'm gonna turn off the engine. Okay, so check engine light is now remaining on right now. I am going to scan the engine computer. Let's see if there's a code in the engine computer. Now, another important piece of info that I would like to share with you guys is the owner of the vehicle told me that he scanned the engine computer at his house. He has a little OBD code reader. He scanned it and he told me that the code that we had before came back. So the P0301 code, so cylinder number 1 misfire code came back. Although right now the check engine light is not on. Let's see if we have a pending code in the engine computer. Okay, so right there, the scan tool has identified the vehicle. We did some tests last time. This vehicle doesn't have a mechanical problem. The engine sounds good. Okay, so I'm wondering why the check engine light is coming on intermittently. So let's see if we have any pending codes. No pending codes. Interesting. Let's see if we have any memory codes. No codes present. No codes present. So I'm gonna go based on what the customer told me, because I believe he had sent me the code that he got. Let me see if I can find it. I will show it to you. So this is the code that the customer sent me. Let me see if I can find it. Yeah, so right here. So this is when the customer scanned it with his little OBD code reader. Can you see that, Matt? Can you see the code?
Yeah.
Perfect. Yeah, so the code that came back was P0301. Now, he told me he erased the code before he drove the vehicle here. That's why we don't have the code right now. So if we drive the vehicle long enough, that code will come back. Now, last time we replaced the spark plugs, okay, the vehicle drove well. And right now, based on how the engine is running, I don't think we have an injector problem, because if we had a bad injector, we would have a dead miss. Or if we had a bad coil, we would have a dead miss also. It's going to be misfiring constantly. Now, there's a possibility that we could have a coil that's failing intermittently or an injector that's failing intermittently. But based on what the customer told me, here is what I believe is going on. And we're going to do some tests to confirm that. The customer told me that the vehicle drives well. When the engine gets warm, there are no issues. Sometimes the check engine light stays off for 2 days or 3 days. And then in the morning, he noticed, usually in the morning when he first starts the vehicle, there is a lot of white smoke coming out the tailpipe. Now, white smoke coming out of the tailpipe is an indication of cooling. White smoke coming out of the tailpipe is an indication of coolant burning inside the combustion chamber. I told the customer that could be something really bad or really costly, because if we have coolant going inside the combustion chamber, it's going to burn when you first start the engine. You can have a little bit of a coolant leak. That leak can be between the cylinder head and the cylinder block and the cylinder head gasket. So we can have coolant leaking past the head gasket and falling in the cylinder. So what we need to do is, I would like to remove the spark plug from cylinder 1. I want to use a camera. Let's put a camera in the cylinder to see if we have coolant or signs of coolant on top of the piston. If we see signs of coolant getting in the cylinder, that would mean we either have to take the engine apart and replace the head gasket or change the engine. Now, this vehicle doesn't have a lot of miles, so we might just have to remove the head gasket and do a head gasket job, because I believe we have coolant going in the cylinder, in cylinder 1, okay? So let's go under the hood. I'm gonna grab a camera. We're gonna put a camera in the cylinder, and then we're gonna pressurize the cooling system. Hopefully we can see where the coolant leak is. And then the other telltale sign would be if the coolant level is going down, okay? So the other thing we need to look at under the hood, we have to see if coolant level is down, because I told the customer, do you have a coolant leak around where you park in your driveway? He said there are no coolant leaks. So let's check the coolant reservoir. If the coolant level on the reservoir is low, that would also mean that, you know, we most likely have an internal leak in the engine. So enough talking. Let's go under the hood and do some tests. All right, so we are here under the hood. I'm gonna remove the engine cover. Let's pop this cover off. Okay, we're gonna pull this cover out of the way. Now, first thing I don't like is the coolant level is low. Look at this surge tank, Matt. So look at this, guys. We have a minimum level here. We have a maximum level right here. You see how the coolant level is low? Now, this vehicle doesn't have an external leak, because this is pretty common on these engines. I wish I thought about that the first time I looked at this vehicle. But when I first looked at the spark plugs and I compared it to the plug next to the other cylinder, so I looked at the spark plug on cylinder 1, and then I looked at the spark plug from cylinder 2, they looked different, and they had 2 different part numbers. I was like, well, that should be the problem right there. So I don't think the coolant level was this low last time this vehicle was here. And what made me ask the customer if the coolant level, if there's a leak, a coolant leak around the engine or on the driveway, because he said there is white smoke coming out of the tailpipe. So I mean, these engines are known to have coolant leaks, like internal coolant leaks. So here's what I'm gonna do. I'm going to grab my cooling system pressure tester. I'm gonna open the surge tank. Let's put some coolant in it, and then we're gonna pressurize the cooling system to see what's gonna happen. So now I'm gonna put coolant. I'm gonna go grab coolant from the shop. Let's put some coolant in it, and then we're gonna pressurize it to see what we're gonna find. We're gonna fill it up to the maximum mark, so right there. That was enough. So now let's find the right adapter for this thing. Oh, is this the right adapter for this? Okay, so we're gonna pressurize it. Usually they tell you the pressure here on the cap. So right there, we're gonna pressurize this system to 21 psi. Let's see. Right there, as you can see, our cooling system is holding pressure. We have pressurized it to about 9 psi. So let's keep going. Right there, 15 psi. Let's go all the way up to 21 psi. So about right there. So let's wait. If the gauge drops immediately, that would mean there is a huge leak somewhere. And that can be an internal leak or an external leak. So as you can see, our gauge is not moving. It's kind of holding steady right now, so that's good. So we're gonna leave this over here. The system is pressurized. Now I'm going to remove the first ignition coil. So I'm going to disconnect the electrical connector of the coil. I'm going to undo this bolt over here for the coil. Yeah, we might deliver bad news to the customer because, okay, here comes the coil bolt. I mean the bolt of the coil. Now I'm gonna pull the coil out. I'm just gonna pull it out like that. We're gonna get it up here. And then the next thing is gonna be removing the spark plug. So we're gonna get this in here. Oops, sorry. Oops, sorry guys. I didn't mean to hit you. Because I know on these vehicles, usually what happens is when the engine is cold, the head gasket will contract and allow coolant to leak into the cylinder. And then when the engine warms up, the gasket expands and then it seals, so it stops leaking. So you would have an engine that misfires when it's cold, and then when it gets warm, it stops misfiring. Okay, so I'm gonna have to grab a little pick to pull out the spark plug. I'll grab it and then I'll be right back. All right, so now we're gonna pull the spark plug out. We're gonna use this magnet to get the spark plug out. So here it is. So here's the brand new plug that we just installed. And these are OEM plugs, okay? So the spark plug is out and our cooling system is still pressurized. Let me check the pressure. So our gauge over here didn't move. As you can see, we're still holding 21 psi. That's good right there. So now we're going to use our camera. So let me get this set up. Okay, I love this camera. Check this out. There we go. So we're gonna put this camera in the cylinder. Actually, one time someone told me that I was doing a colonoscopy to the engine. Okay, so let's get this Oh, look at that, Matt. What is this? We have coolant in the cylinder. This is coolant. Yeah, this is the problem. What else do we have there? Oh, this is bad. This is bad news. Okay, hold on. Let me go back up. Yeah. So you guys will be able to see this. So we have coolant in the cylinder right there. This is coolant on top of the piston. Now the question is, can we tell where it's coming from? It's very odd. Yeah, so let me move my camera up. Yeah, look at that. Look at the cylinder walls. Oh my goodness, look. Robin would love this. Let me call Robin. Robin! Man, if we did this the first time we replaced the plugs, we would have seen this. Guess what's wrong with this engine?
What's wrong with it? Oh no, coolant. That's coolant.
Yep.
Oh wow.
Yep.
Oh, that's a motor job.
Yep. We gotta remove the head. The head has to come off. We gotta do a head gasket on this. Yeah, check the block to see if it's
just
cracked.
In case,
I like that. Yeah.
But it's a
Look at the cylinder walls.
Yeah, right here. Yeah. Oh wow.
Look, coolant right there.
Right between the head and the gasket right there.
There is coolant. Yep.
Wow. Great job.
Yep.
Great job. Great job.
There is. Because the customer told me after he picked it up last time,
Yeah.
he said that the vehicle was fine for, oops, let me move this up. So when he picked it up,
Yeah.
we replaced the spark plugs on this.
Yes.
And I almost checked this, but what threw me off was when I removed the spark plug, they had two part numbers on the engine. So one spark plug had a different number, you know, and even the central electrode was, you know, the material around the central electrode was big.
The person who worked on the car before,
Yeah.
finally probably was, so this is a quick fix. Keep that we literally remove.
Yeah.
You gotta get more sparks instantly. Sparks.
Maybe. So I guess someone put a different spark plug on it to see.
Yes.
And then when I saw that spark plug, I was like, well, they probably got the wrong spark plug on this. So I went to Ford and got 4 new spark plugs. We put them on. We drove the vehicle actually.
Right.
The car was fine.
Right.
And then I gave it to the customer. The customer drove the vehicle. It was fine for I think 2 or 3 days. And after that, he called me back. He said, Dio, the check engine light came back on. I was like, Because it drives fine. Like when you're driving it, it doesn't misfire, like no power loss, nothing.
Right.
And then he scanned it because he has a little OBD code reader. He scanned it and then he sent me a screenshot.
Yeah.
The same code came back, P0301.
Wow.
So cylinder 1 misfire.
Wow.
You know, and then he told me, actually, then he said, Dio, I noticed in the morning when I started, there's white smoke coming out of the tailpipe.
Cool.
So to me, that is what was the telltale sign.
Yes,
I was like,
absolutely.
I'm sure there's coolant. And these engines are known for this issue.
Oh wow.
It usually happens. So yeah, I just wanted to show you this.
Thank you very
Actually,
much.
for our viewers, I'm gonna remove the spark plug from cylinder 2. So I can show everyone, to those of you who might have questions, so you can see how a dry cylinder is going to look compared to the one that has coolant in it. At this point, we're done.
Yeah.
I'm going to make an estimate for a head gasket replacement, and then we might have to send the cylinder head to the machine shop so they can check it. Maybe it's cracked.
Right. So what's the worst case scenario? A used engine or a rebuilt engine?
That's a good question. I mean, yeah, I get questions all the time. I've had people send me emails or even comments on some videos.
Yeah.
People would say, why do you always replace changing the engine? I mean, why do you always recommend...
Change it.
Sorry, I can't talk. Matt is laughing at me behind the camera. You know, people always say, why do you always recommend changing the engine? It's not that I always want to change the engine, but sometimes it's cheaper to just get an engine with low miles and swap it than trying to take the engine apart, because the amount of time that it requires, the parts and everything. So taking an engine apart and putting it together sometimes takes longer, and the bill ends up being a lot higher. I can do it. Like, we don't mind doing it. I can do it. Robin can do it. We can fix it. We can get the OEM parts, take it apart, get the cylinder head checked, you know, put it back together. But the thing is the customer going to be willing to pay for that? Because if it's cheaper to change the engine, you know, most customers go with the engine replacement route. So I'm going to provide a couple estimates to him. We're going to give him an estimate about the engine replacement, the estimate about checking the cylinder head and replacing the head and all the gaskets around it. And then also, I mean, I believe they bought this car not too long ago. We're also going to price out a remanufactured engine. Ideally, I would recommend putting a remanufactured engine on this one, just for warranty purposes and stuff like that. So this vehicle only has 86,000 miles.
So it doesn't have like manufacturer warranty with it?
I can check. Usually, that's a good question. Usually manufacturer warranty covers the engine until 50,000 miles or 80,000 miles.
Wow.
I mean, I'll call Ford. You know, I can call Ford to figure out, but this has 86. I'm sure they're gonna tell me it's out of warranty.
Oh.
Yeah. I can almost bet that.
Oh, not good.
Not good. Yeah. So we found the issue. Actually, let me see if I can look at the valves.
I love this camera.
You like this camera, right?
Yeah.
Let me look at the valves. Oops.
Yeah, I love this camera.
Actually, the valves look good. There's your injector.
Yes.
Yeah, look at coolant right there in the cylinder walls.
You're doing a
Yeah, colonoscopy. Someone once said, "Dio, you're doing a colonoscopy to the engine."
Yeah.
I think I am. I guess.
Yes, you are.
Oh, so right there, you see that line over here?
Yes.
Yeah, it looks like that's where the leak is. Right there. You hear? I saw it.
Yeah.
Oh, so right there, you see that line over here?
Yes. Back it up. Just go back just a little bit.
Oh, hold on. I think I saw a drip. I think I saw a drip. Come on, drip again.
You want to put more pressure on it?
Yeah, right there. Can you pressurize it more? Right there. I think I saw a drip. I thought I saw something. Yeah, I mean, you can clearly see. Look.
Yeah, that's gone.
coolant.
That's gone.
Yeah.
I think you're coming that way, so if you roll it back.
Yeah, I saw that drip. I don't know if we were able to catch that on camera, but look at that. We got coolant all over. Look at this cylinder wall. Oh, look at right here. Is this about to drop?
It's a little bubble right there. It won't happen now.
That's how it is. When you get the camera around it, then it doesn't happen.
Man, this camera is wonderful.
Yeah, so right there, look at that's coolant right there.
Yeah.
All right, guys. So you can see we clearly have coolant on top of the piston right there. A lot of coolant. So,
What's this here?
oh, that's just the, how do they call it? Indent in something. It's just a dent on the.
Oh.
There's a word for it. I'm forgetting. It's just a dent on the piston. It's normal.
The piston I'm looking at.
Yeah.
Oh.
This is the top of the piston.
Oh, okay.
How do they say it? Indentation?
Yeah.
Indentation? Is that the word?
Yes,
yeah.
it is. Yes,
yeah.
it is.
Yeah. This is normal.
Yeah, this is not. It's normal. Intake and exhaust indentation.
Yeah.
The valves.
Yeah. There you go. Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
Did you see the drop?
Yes, I saw a drop coming down right here.
Yeah. Okay. So now let's look at the non-good one.
Yeah.
The cylinder that doesn't have a leak. So you guys can clearly see this, right? As you can see, there's coolant on top of the piston. So now I'm gonna get this camera out. Okay, we're gonna put this over here. Matt, if you can show everyone this, I'm gonna remove the second ignition coil, okay, the coil from cylinder 2. We're gonna take this out. We're gonna remove the spark plug from cylinder 2, and then we're gonna look inside cylinder 2. I guess this is something we need to start doing, Robin.
Yes.
Now when we have these engines and if they're misfiring,
Right.
regardless of the mileage of the car, we always have to pressurize the cooling system and also use the camera to see.
Yes.
Because if we did this last time, we probably could have seen it.
Yeah.
Yeah, right? Yeah. So now luckily it wasn't an expensive repair the first time they brought the vehicle here. We
Right.
just replaced the spark plugs,
Right.
you know, and I told the customer, look, you know, I don't really think there's a big problem here. That's what I told him. I was like, I don't think there's a big problem. So here comes a second spark plug. Okay, here it is. I was like, I don't think there's a big problem, but your spark plug, you have two part numbers here. You have two different plugs. And I told him, let's change the plugs and see what happens. All right, so you guys will see this when Matt puts this on the screen.
All clean.
So now look at the non-good cylinder. You see how this one is? How dry this one is?
Right on.
You can tell the difference, right? Yeah.
Clean, normal.
Clean, nothing. Look at the cylinder walls on this one. Look at the cylinder walls. No bubbles, no nothing.
Right. Okay, so the carbon didn't look normal on top of this.
Just look at the valves.
It's a little bit of carbon in the valve.
Yeah, a little bit, which is normal.
Yeah.
It's a direct injection engine. Yeah, look at the cylinder walls. So this is a non-good cylinder. Check this out. Look at the valves.
No problem. Normal carbon.
Yeah, nothing. No coolant.
Oh.
No coolant in the cylinder. Okay. Look at the top of the piston here.
Normal.
Okay, as you can see,
This look good.
the top of the piston is dry. So this is how it's supposed to look like.
Yeah.
Okay, so now let me go back to the first cylinder that has a coolant leak. Oh, look at that. Swimming pool.
It's all pink on top there.
Yeah. All right, so we're done. That's enough. That's enough.
Yes, it is.
We found the problem.
That's unfortunately.
Yeah, okay, cool. The good thing is we found the problem.
That's the great thing.
That is all that matters, okay? Now, the question is, you think we should have figured this out the first time? I don't know, because I mean, there were two different kinds of spark plugs, and then when we drove it, it was fine. Actually, I was also kind of thrown off by the mileage, because I was like, this car doesn't have a lot of miles.
Yeah.
It's clean, so I don't think it's gonna need a head gasket, but
No.
I should have checked.
Well, I wouldn't knock you too hard. I would say you're doing process of elimination.
Yeah,
The spark plug, it was wrong spark plug in there,
yeah,
and you said, hey, let's do this first.
first, yeah.
It fixed the problem that time.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, they take it for 2 days, 3 days.
And then it came back, yeah.
back.
So yeah, so what's happening is the spark plug is getting wet,
Yes,
you know, that's why it's misfiring.
that's why the person or persons who work on it before
Yeah,
remove the electrolyte.
central electrode, yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
out of the spark plug because it will like put in the hot, making it become a hot plug.
He put a hot plug, oh yeah, that makes sense. That's
Yes.
probably what they did. Yeah,
Yes.
they put a hot plug in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, well that wasn't gonna help.
Oh, that's what was that? A band-aid for
Yeah, kind of a
wound.
bandit for sure, yeah. All right, so we're gonna leave this right over here. Robin, thank you for your opinion.
You're welcome.
Thanks for being here.
You're welcome.
Guys, we're gonna leave this over here. I'm going to make an estimate. I'm gonna call the customer and deliver the news to the customer, and then whatever the customer decides, we're gonna go ahead and do it. So I'm gonna give, like I said, I'm gonna give the customer a couple options: head gasket replacement or engine replacement using an OEM. I mean, using a remanufactured engine. That would be my preferred choice, or a used engine with low miles. So I'm gonna give the customer all those options, and then he's gonna choose what option he's gonna go with. So that's it. I hope you like the video. If you like the video, give it a thumbs up. If you don't like the video, give it a thumb down. But if you do, tell us why so we can make better videos in the future. If this is your first time here, subscribe to our YouTube channel. If you have any comments, questions, criticism, leave them in the comment box. Cameraman Matt, thanks for being here. See you guys next time.